Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, put your hands together for your host, Ultra Magnus. This is WN95HL Weekly. And a little bit of soft rock with Robbie Rob in time. If you're wondering where this song is coming from, think of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Rock on! Alright, ladies and gents, this is Ultra Magnus here. This week's episode is going to be a little different. It's going to be a little bit more kind of on a reflection of over the last year of WNHL 95, how things have been, how things have changed, the good, the bad, some of the highlights from each season, all those good kind of things. And it seems like always when we're thinking everything is going to be staying kind of consistent for one season, it goes completely the opposite way. I'm still licking my wounds over my complete meltdown of holding a 3-2 series lead over LHX. Get your scoop out. We're going to have some cream. Well, I got frostbitten, I got a brain freeze, and I fucked up. So LHX, hats off to you, man. Hope you win the Bruley. Knock off Adolf. Knock off that Yinza. Hopefully that this is not a third year in a row that Sean Bell dominates and takes over his Bruley Cup dominance again for another season. And then we have to go into the summer months wondering what if. So this week's episode, like I said, is going to kind of go on some reflecting on each day. I'm going to go through each season, what things were like, I at least remember that it's been kind of a whirlwind for the last 10 months that we've been in this league. By the time season 5 kicks off, we'll be like celebrating our 1-year anniversary of the league. But here's some thoughts I have, and I'm going to kind of elaborate a little bit on it, or I might not, depending on how many open wounds I can create or how many fucking bad feelings I'll have from it. But who knows? These are your top 40 moments, news, thoughts, memories, anything that I could remember from the last 4 seasons, 10 from each year. And you guys might have your own. You can put yours into the comments. Smash the like for a thumbs up, hopefully. And we'll start from the first one. G-Lock's overtime winner against King Raff. In our first season, G-Lock beat King Raff in game 1 of the best of 5. And G-Lock was kind of like that player that had that shitty beginning of the season, which he has every season. And then for some reason, he turns on the Jets. It seems like his auxiliary power gets kicked in, overdrive, and he's able to really push it to the next level. And when he started the playoffs and beat King Raff in overtime in game 1, everyone was like, what the fuck is the Jets continuously going to fire? Unfortunately, he lost the series. King Raff went on to win the title. But G-Lock can hang his hat on the one thing is that he beat the King of 94 and give him some reflecting kind of feelings of that was one of his few losses that he actually had through the whole run in the Bruley Cup. Other than the series against the Highland Wolf, G-Lock actually showed up quite well in that whole series, which leads us into the second number 39 from season 1 was King Raff actually winning the Bruley Cup in season 1. It was kind of injury to insult, kind of a slap in the face to the league in one way only, that it's a 94 guy who came in and dominated us in 95. Granted, everyone's going to be like, oh, well, the competition was weaker, or we were still trying to figure things out. Hats off to King Raff. His magical thumbs, only the closest thing that came to him as a magical thumb wizard would be a massage therapist. That's the closest thing that would come to it. But his magical thumbs had wizardry behind them, and he was able to fool us all into his hoax and his blinding speed that basically captured him the Bruley Cup in season 1 in a dominant fashion. He finished with 80 points in 46 games. Peter Klima, the midget, ran between everybody's legs on the way to a couple of awards, even the playoff MVP for the Gretzky Award. Number 38 is that we had 24 teams when we first started this whole league. Crazy to think that we only have 16 of those 24 original teams. 16 of those original teams are still in existence. Yes, there's been some minor modifications to those teams. So if we even want to go deeper into it, my team has changed. Sandy Smith's team went from the Minnesota Maximals to the Charlestown Chiefs, which he still is. The Gaelic Gopher went from the Minnesota. What the fuck was he in? I don't even. Minnesota Moose, and he's changed now over to the Gophers. Manhatrix have basically used to be the Minnesota Mullets. Saguenay Aviators used to be the Pensacola Ice Flyers. Who else has changed? Ticklepuss changed every season since, and this is going to be the first year he's actually been back-to-back the same team. He was the Teabaggers, and then he was the Blumpkins. Neither of them had success ever getting to a championship. Well, they got to a finals last year, but lost in 4 straight. Who else has changed? There's been a few other little changes, but then I would say there's probably only 10 teams of the original ones that are like the original 10 are still in existence. Even that, when I take it away, King Wrath is not with the league anymore. So the dwindle's dwindling right down in total. But so that is a huge thing. The big highlight of the whole year was the uncharacteristic and the poor family of Hines. Poor gentleman, like his wife and baby died, and he was playing NHL in a tournament that night for fantasy hockey or something. Poor guy. Apparently he was hit by a maroon van carrying some guys from Minnesota with a Sega Genesis in the back seat, right across from a funeral home, but he owned his own Subway Star. Hines, rest in peace. Go fuck yourself. The funny other thing was, to add to that, is that we only played 466 games, but then I even have to subtract 46 of those from at one Sir, which brings us down to 420. Leviathan didn't play all his games, so you take away another half of those. So we only played like 380 games all season, and 61 of those were in the playoffs. Funny enough, the thing is that we had 4 of those series go the distance. Even though, granted, it was only 5-game series at the time, but still, 4 of them went the distance, and 3 of them were in the Bruley, and 1 of them was in the Prospect Cup, now known as the Shitty Bill. To my knowledge, and from what I've heard from other people, we're the first ever online NHL 95 competitive league, and still are at this moment. If there's anybody who knows more about online 95 leagues that might be popping up somewhere, we might be the grandfathers of it all that started it. So maybe down the line we might have a WHL affiliate trying to take over the NHL or compete with us, and then we'll just absorb them and take them on. Who knows? Hopefully there's some European guys out there that want to join. It was the first time that we had the awards in season 1, and Belfour went on to win 3 Brick Wall Awards in consecutive seasons. He finally dropped the bag this year to Jim Carrey, but Belfour was probably a close second or a third. So he's finished in the top 3 voting all seasons that the league's been in existence. Going to this is more of a personal pain in my ass, was manually entering every single statistic from every single save state that everybody sent to me until we changed the setting to continuous save states and not to decompress the ROM, so allow us to export all the data from it a lot easier. Still was a pain in the fucking ass, and how I set it all up, I was thinking I was groundbreaking, and then started talking with King Rap, and then it started noticing that I was doing it completely ass backwards. To be honest, one of my thoughts on the whole year was, hey, we had 1 season. That's all it's going to be. Nobody else is really going to want to play this league. If we only had 10 guys, it would still be somewhat of a success. But the fact that it's grown every season since, and more people are likely going to want to join, we've absorbed some of the 94 guys that want to try it as a league. That's perfectly fine. Like we have, even coming into season 5 potentially now too, is that we got Comical Font, we have Slavo Tonic, we have Caden, and your cocksucking motherfucker mother and your balls in your ass, Aftershock is coming back. So I'm happy that he's coming back, because we're going to have some fun commentary. And it also was the first time that we started the draft, and I don't know what the fuck I wrote here on my notes. But it was we had an expansion draft. I knew that the league was going to happen. It was when we had the first draft. Once everybody was like making their picks, we did the wheel to find out the order of everybody. It was like, okay, this is really happening. Like, we're actually going to start an online NHL 95 league. I didn't know the success of the league would continue to expand, but I did know that we might have something special, at least for a small group of guys. Moving on to season 2, one of the other things that I noticed was quite a highlight of it was the Waterloo invasion. Fellow Canadians, doesn't matter. And like, the Waterloo invasion was very real. It's almost like the native flu in Letterkenny when nobody wanted to play the natives because they're tough as fuck and they beat the shit out of you. And it held true in season 2. We had Sean Bell join the group. We had Moses, which was Sean Collins at the time, but it's Moses Bogart. And then we had Nathan MB. I think Tiakutuk showed up in season 3. Collins showed up in season 3. But we had more expansion. There were some other teams that kind of came into the mix. And it was impressive to notice that we're expanding in our league. We went from after we dropped 2 teams, we were down to 22. We went up to 26. The funny thing is that Sean Bell won his first Bruley. So an expansion team came in, took the league by storm, finished with probably, I think, the best record in the league, or pretty damn close to it. And then on top of it goes and wins the Bruley Cup in his first year, which ends up happening to be his second one he wins in season 3, and potentially he's on line right now to win his his third in 4 years, or his third in 4 years of the league, but his third in 3 years. So Vegas Golden Knights much without the championships. We expanded to 48 games, so kind of all the records kind of got smashed. But it was still not too bad. None of the teams disbanded. The teams just relocated or rebranded. It was just changed things up. So there was a couple teams, I think, that they just kind of went to the wayside, but somebody else came in and took over them. So you can kind of say some teams disbanded, but we didn't lose anybody. Our number went up in teams that joined. The Sumter Trash on their run to the shitty bill. He beat Halifax, he beat Dinkelberg, and then he beat Gaelic Gopher. Amazing run for him, and then he ends up picking first, and I think he went with Ed Jovanowski, which then it was made it funny is that Gaelic Gopher wanted to get up and get Sergei Gonchar, which Gonchar, I think he won or came pretty damn close to winning the Two-Touch Cup this past season in season 4. The funny thing is that we had nine series in the playoffs in season 2 that went the distance. We had 3 of them in the Shitty Bill or the Prospect Cup, and 6 of them in the Bruley. So you take that in hindsight that you had 8, 4, that's 12. You had 15 series. Almost half the series went the distance in season 2, which was fucking ridiculous. And the more of a ridiculous factor was that Sean Bell won the Bruley Cup. Took him 25 games to win it instead of 16, which is fine. But he won it in 20 games, which is 4 longer than a sweep all the way through. Is the fact that he gave up only 25 goals in those 20 games, which is fucking outrageously stupid in statistical worlds. When you think about it, you go, he only gave up 25 goals in 20 games. I think I gave up 25 goals in 2 games, 3 games, 4 games. Doesn't matter. He did it over 20 fucking games. And then the biggest story of the whole playoffs, it wasn't so much that Sean Bell won the Bruley Cup. I think it was more that after King Rapp winning the title the year before, he gets ousted by an expansion team in the Grand River Hurons by Moses Bogart in 7. One of our 6 series that went the distance. Amazing series. Moses ended up falling to LHX. LHX ended up falling to Sean Bell. Sean Bell went on to beat, I believe, who did he beat in the finals that year? Can't remember. I think it was Troy Hill. I think he beat Troy Hill in season 2. I have to go back and look at that. It was the first season that we actually started talking about an extractor, something that could pull the stats out, allow me to input everything quicker. I was thinking before it was taking me about an hour and a half every morning. I was telling you guys that when Tickness had created this new one that we're using right now. But the fact that I was doing them for a fucking hour and a half every morning to put them up into the box scores and everything else like that, The hard thing was is season 1, I think it would took me 3 or 4 hours every day to fucking do it. Now I'm looking at myself, I got 8 minutes to use in the morning. I'm like, fuck, I'm done. Soon enough, it's going to be, I'm not doing anything every morning. The shit's going to update itself. We started expanding the outreach on Twitch. We started having so many more people broadcasting games. We had people announcing and commentating, which has been ridiculous. And my hat still goes off to Moses. You're still the greatest announcer in the league. I think you're even better than Hines was ever. Hines' play-by-play is never going to be touched. It was quite good on point. But it's your ad-lib and your off-the-cuff kind of commentary that kind of just makes people feel like, hey, this guy's been doing it forever. You're just a natural, bud. Keep it going. And in season 2, we played 598 games. There was a couple games we had to push in at the end. I think there might have been 2 games that were simulated. We ended up playing 85 games in the playoffs, which was a record for any season that we've done so far. Is 85 playoff games that were played. And we also introduced our website at WN95HL.com. Now we have the save state loader on there, but we're going to be doing some other stuff on the back end. Don't get too excited to be like, oh, we're going to have everything all ready to go. It's not at that stage yet. But then season 3 moved on, and I think season 3 is where we started finding our legs. Started finding ourselves as a part, being like, hey, you know what? We're starting to become a very popular league, at least in the community that we thought. Still 32 guys. It's not huge, but you got to start somewhere. The NHL 94's got thousands of people that are engaged with it, but you got to think they've had 17 years. We got 10 months. We got some time. We'll make it up. We'll all be in our 70s by the time we're probably at that level, or if we're ever at that level, who knows. But season 3 was the first year we actually had the extractor full on, with King Rath helping me with it, building it up. He actually created it. I just implemented it with our league. So hats off to you, King Rath, and winning the Aftershock Cup on that note. Sean Bell became the first and only 2-time champ of the Bruley Cup for back-to-back seasons. We increased our league to 66 games. It was a little bit of a stretch because there was a lot more games for a lot more people. We went up from 48 to 66, which was kind of a leap. But also, when you think about it, we also went up to 30 teams in season 3. So when you think about it in that way, we went from 22 to 26 to 30. The increase itself just naturally had to take its place of saying, hey, we're going to have to increase the games to make it a little bit more meaningful. The divisions were still trying to be figured out at 3 years, 3 different divisional alignments. Everything was changing up. The Shitty Bill was won by a 2-time Bruley Cup playoff team for the first time with B. Clinton when he took over and beat his brother in the Battle of Segathoners in a 4-game, I think it was a 4-game sweep. He actually beat the shit out of Autobahn. But when we get to season 4 discussion, you'll see where this kind of all goes. We had 7 games in that playoffs in season 3 that went the distance. 5 of them were in the Shitty Bill. 2 of them were in the Bruley. So there wasn't all that much going on in the Bruley that year. We only played 64 games in the Bruley Cup playoffs in season 3 compared to 85 in season 2. It was the first time that we had an all-tribe final. It was the Waterloo Tribe Finals with an expansion team in Colin, with his Sudbury Slag, who were disbanded. He took over the Milwaukee Half Puck this year. He's going to disband them and probably bring in a new team. Who knows? We don't know with Colin yet what's going on with his team or how he's going to defunct the league again. But it ended up being the second Bruley Cup finals in a row that Sean Bell had swept. No, there was the second finals that was a sweep because King Rath had swept the finals. And Sean Bell had swept the finals the year in season 2. I think it was a sweep in season 3 too. I have no idea. I have to go back and look again. But I think it was a sweep as well in season 3. But I don't have no recollection of it anymore because it's what transpired prior to the playoffs, kind of leaving a bad taste in the league's mouth, leaving a bad taste on the league, leaving a bad taste in a lot of people's viewpoints of how it was handled, which then created our a code of conduct committee. I'm not going to get into the names, but EBC, everybody knows Mike Vick with Joe Trunzo completely went AWOL and complete meltdown. But I do think that there was like ganging up on the situation and everything else like that, but it was handled poorly. I can't do everything by myself, which is why we conducted the code of conduct team or the committee that we've created to kind of alleviate these kind of situations. And then there was another instance earlier in the year where Dinkelberg went AWOL as well, which I don't even want to get into details. He's disappeared off the face of the earth. We don't know what the hell happened with him. And it just seemed like it was a really bad taste that things were just going completely sideways. So I was at the point, even in season 3 was probably my breaking point, where I was like, do I even want to continue doing this, or is it worth doing this? And I was emotionally drained for season 3. But the fact that we even played 966 games compared to our 598 the year prior, we played 966 games plus 64 playoff games, which was ridiculous. I continue to evolve the Google Sheets, which was just ridiculous. I think everyone keeps asking for more stuff to be able to see in it. And everything that we saw in the league this year, if you hear any barking, it's because of my dog. And I don't know what to do here. Good girl. There you go. It's okay, Sam. So the big thing is that like there's a dog barking outside. My dog normally barks when she hears another dog, and I didn't want to hear it. So basically from there, and then there was also Medano set records across the board. He scored 170 points, 160 goals, 41 special team points, and I think 29 of those were shorthanded, which was completely fucking ridiculous. But Providence struggled. Like they got into the playoffs, and then they were ousted, I think, by Troy Hill. So, or not Troy Hill, by Colin in the conference finals, which was just not the way you want to have your season end. I'm a little distracted by those dogs because I didn't want to mess up the video, and then at the same time too, now we're 22 minutes in. Do I want to start back from the beginning? Fuck no, let's continue. Moving to season 4, which brought me new life into the whole thing. The season started off great. We had an exciting draft. We had B. Clinton draft Jerome McGinley. Then Dominic Hasek went number 2 to Autobahn. Then Kovalev went number 3 to Derek Sutton, an expansion team, which led our league to expand to 32 teams. Our first time that we actually had the divisions nicely distributed evenly. There was one anomaly in there that we weren't really sure about, was Tickness. Tickness just came out of nowhere, used his 94 prowess. The way he passes the puck is like Van Gogh or Beethoven. It's a piece of magic that you could see before your eyes when he's passing it. If you don't rough him up, you'll see it continuously get a brush over your face, and you'll be like, wow, I just don't know what happened. I feel like I'm on gummies and Pinot, or I'm just like binge watching WNHL95 old Twitch videos. Who knows? But that's what Tickness gives you kind of on the whole thing. I have to say it, Tickiness. I'm just going to call him Tick, because it'd probably be easier for me to remember that, to be able to say it all the time. So Tick, good job. But the big thing is that the draft was an amazing start to the season. It went quickly because we only did 2 rounds. There was no more boosts. I made a wild trade and traded my first and Bertuzzi, who I drafted, I think 8th or 4th. I can't remember where I picked them, to Richfield for Ginla mid-season. And I took his second, he took my first. And I was just hoping I better not fucking get eliminated at any point early in the season, or he's going to get a pretty good first-round pick. Which, he's still going to get a decent one, but he's going to probably go pretty deep, so he's going to have 2 tail end of the first kind of round picks. What the fuck? We had 2 coaches kind of go wonky midway through the season. JNC, I really don't know what his status is right now. Coach Mike, I have no fucking clue. The guy's gone completely MIA. Great guy, great playing guy, good for the league. It's just when you join WNHL 95, you have to know there's somewhat of a commitment to playing your games. And I do have flexibility, but I don't take advantage of it. I think I'm a reasonable person. I think I provide a reasonable timelines. I think I provide everybody a reasonable alternative if they need it. But don't leave me standing by no communicado. And then I'm like, what the fuck is your problem? Just give me the fucking answer. I don't care. And then it's just like, oh, I don't want to give you an answer, but I'm not going to tell anybody what's going on. So people were messaging and they weren't getting an answer. So it gets now to a point where I think the committee is going to look into a fallback plan in case this happens again. And from there, we're going to have to be able to determine what to do. But I need to find a good song, something to get me. Yeah, I think that's a good way to kind of like lead us into the rest of season 4. It was the first time that we actually had live tournaments where members of WN95HL went to the tournaments. It was the first time it ever happened where Joe Trunzo or Mike Vick EBC went to the high tournament. I think he finished 3rd or 4th. And then myself, I went to the Second-thon tournament in Minnesota, where I finished, I don't know, I think 8th. I think. Guys, Gaelic Gopher, Segathon, B. Clinton, Autobahn, Sammy Smith, please remind me where I finished. I have no fucking clue. But a hell of a group of guys. You can see why they're one of the grandfather groups of them. Same thing with the Waterloo Crown and the High Tournament. It's pretty awesome what they do, and offering up their house, being able to have that kind of event is just, it was magical, put it that way. It's once in a lifetime kind of thing, but it's going to be more than once in a lifetime. I'm going to be attending the 2023 one, and that's going to be in Gaelic Gopher or Judd's man hut or bunker, wherever you want to call it. It's just going to be this massive garage. It's like the size of a house where it's going to be held. And then from there, we have a new script. So Tick created a script where you can basically cuts down my days from an hour and a half to 2 hours every morning down to 8 minutes, 7 minutes, 6 minutes, depending on what's going on. Like I did our series in his against Gaelic Gopher, all in like 5 minutes. Just put the save states into a folder, run the script, poof. Then I just go look at the box scores, do a screenshot, and then edit them and then put them on Discord. Easy peasy, chicken peasy, or chicken thighs, whatever you want to call it. The tiered system was a success, I think. Like after seeing it how it was, I think a lot of the teams were properly placed in their divisions. One little oversight is that some of the lower tiered guys had to play against the upper tier and got pretty much throttled. I'm talking about the Norris division. But at the end of the day, it's a learning curve. I realized, maybe it wasn't best suited for them to play 17 or 18 games out of their division against the highest seed. But it gave them a good chance to test them out and see what's going on. And I honestly think that they shouldn't be playing Tier 1. Tier 1 should not play Tier 4. It doesn't matter. This season, for Season 5, we're expanding the 34 teams. So I'm going to have some restructuring. Derek Sutton was trying to do something, and he's just like, I don't know how the fuck you do it. It's too complicated. I have my thoughts. Don't worry about it. I figured it out already. The new play-in series has been putting some teams on edge. Myself included. I can't stand you, man. I literally couldn't stand you for 2 games because your skill level is up there. You need maybe 1 game breaker, and you're going to be a Bruley Cup playoff team before you know it. I see that there's some teams that are not going to be very happy. Highland Wolf got eliminated. He's in the shitty bill. He seems to be a favorite. And just imagine this: Lloyd or Moses being in the other side. Likely it'll be like a Moses/Lloyd versus a Highland Wolf type final. Who knows? Halifax might come out of nowhere. Ekiel and Surrey are playing fucking lights out. Then on the other side, you have G-Lock and his fucking magical wonders of Jets. And then you have Gamby, who's just playing lights out as well. It just seems like everybody who's playing well at the moment are all going to collide at the same time. So it's going to be a fucking fireworks in the shitty bill. Not taking anything away from the Bruley, but I think the shitty bill is going to be lights out just as much as the Bruley Cup. The first season of the Q is concluding. The regular season has finished. The playoffs have started. If anybody's interested, please DM me and we can see if we can add you in as an expansion team. I do know the Gaelic Gopher and Derek Sutton might be stepping aside for season 2. It's just timing. It's the summer months. Everybody's kind of like got shit going on. I don't expect everyone to kind of jump in. This is just to keep guys fresh until season 5 kicks off. Likely we're going to be starting the expansion draft today or tomorrow. But it's also in a way to allow us to kind of keep guys involved to some degree, regardless of what it is. We're developing the live tourney, so this is going to be the first year we're going to have a Dark Side of the 95 live tournament in Toronto at Waves Gaming on October 15th. October 14th, the night before, we're actually going to have access to the facility to have other tournaments. We're going to have an NBA Jam tournament, Techno Bowl, FIFA, whatever it is. We're going to have some modding sessions so guys could see like physically in front of what involves in modding. And then the next day we'll have the tournament. Then there's gonna be a whole bunch of activities going on. I think the Blue Jays are playing, the Raptors might be in town, the Maple Leafs might be in town as well. Normally they would play on Saturday, but if they're playing it back to back on Friday night, that might be another opportunity for some of the people coming into town to see it. And the way I see it with the 94 tournament, 95, we're going to be splitting together, so it's going to give a lot more exposure to the 95 league and potentially some new guys coming in for season 5 or 6. The summer holidays, I think that everybody really just needs a break. Understandable. Family is important. Personal mental balance is important. Just to clear your mind for a season, a few months isn't a bad thing either. The way we're going at right now will probably trickle into July. And then we'll take July off, and then mid-August, we'll be kicking up season 5. So it's going to be about like maybe a month off. But either way, it gives guys some breaks. I don't want guys dropping out of the league just because of that, and then we continue on without them. I don't think it would be fair for somebody who's built a team for a full year for them to step aside, lose their whole team, and then come back. I don't think it's fair. And then my last note on the whole thing is my last night's game against LHX. McLean, you were right. I choke in big shows. I can't finish it when I think I should. I think I played LHX pretty strong. My thumb still hurts a little bit this morning. I think Pink wants to play a few Q games. We have a playoff series against each other. But overall, LHX, man, you're a baller. You're one of the toughest guys I've ever had to play in the league. Sean Bell is right up there as well, but I think LHX, I'd say my top 3 is LHX, Nipples, and or Adolf Oliver Nipples, and fucking Sean Bell. Tickle Puss, you're not too far behind either. And Colin, I think I figured you out, Colin, but I think last night I kind of figured out LHX as well, but I just couldn't finish it. I still kind of fucking swirling in my head where it went wrong. It was second period, game 6. Once I was down 2-0, I scored the next one, and I took a dumb penalty. That was the end. I had a feeling that was it, and I was kind of demoralized after that. Losing game 6 and trying to go with the mindset into game 7, it was similar to that happened to me in season 2 with McLean beating me in game 7. He just jumped out on me early, and I couldn't get my feet underneath me. I couldn't skate my way out of trouble. But I think it's going to be a good thing for season 5. The Sydney Cyclones are coming back. Maybe a little bit of a different colored scheme for the jerseys. We're finally noting Shane Doan the captain. So Shane Doan's going to be my new captain, my first ever captain for the Sydney Cyclones. There's going to be some moves, but my top 3 set forwards are not going anywhere. So if anybody's looking for trades, don't even start with my top 3. They're not going anywhere. Doan, Iginla, and Solani are going nowhere. They're going to be my power 3, my 3 stallions going into the next 15 seasons. But given that, I'm so proud of everybody in the league. I appreciate all your input. Sean Bell with his hockey news, Tickle Puss with Cooking with Puss, Tickness with your showing everybody how to do gifts properly, and also helping me with the extractor. Just huge shout outs to the Segathon guys, just keeping involved and keeping it fun. The Adolf with your car videos, it's becoming a new fad. I seriously think it is. All the new coaches, you're gonna get your legs into it, and you're gonna notice we're a wild bunch of people, a wild bunch of misfits. But at the same time, too, it's like you look down the street or you look across the computer in a way, and you see another guy that looks like you. Likely, he's in the NHL '95 fan as well. But continuing on, we're thinking about still in the way maybe the GoFundMe so that we can put some money into the league. Likely we're going to probably just do something like that. I do know the Unholy is going to start us up with an actual proper website. So fingers are crossed there to start that up. And I want us to start getting some swag for the league. So I might start like a merch thing on the YouTube channel just for guys to want to start getting some of like go pike yourself or cone head for the Creamery Kings, the Shithawks, like shitstorms all over. I don't know. Come up with some kind of merch for us so that we can all have it. And maybe next thing you know, maybe a year or two from now, you might see somebody walking down the street with a Sunnyvale Shithawks thing on the back and saying McLean. Who knows? Let's have some fun with it. But I'm your host, Ultra Magnus. Thanks again for everybody's contributions into everything. If you want to contribute financially, just let me know, and we can come up with something. But everybody's contributions, just the way it's going right now, is great. And I appreciate everything you guys do. And I'm looking forward to season 5 and finally make a difference in the league. Maybe not fucking get eliminated in the first round. But peace out. Enjoy your games. Enjoy the games over the weekend. I'm your host, Ultra Magnus. Have a good week, guys. Peace.